Hey guys, so in this video we are going to talk about compromises. Yes, so let's get into it. Now, compromises, well, that's an interesting thing because you may have it in your heads that, well, hopefully at least, since you're most likely a very nice person, you've been doing a few compromises in your time. And when you're a software developer, that's no exception. I would even go as far as to say that you will have to learn to compromise in a way that you may not be so used to. And for the juniors out there, this may, in the start, I'll try to explain the process that at least I kind of went through and some reflections on how that process actually kind of came about. Because once you start writing software, not just as a single individual, but you start working in a group of some sort, you will very often find that it's very hard. You would think that developers would be more in line on, since what we're doing is basically engineering, and in my experience, when it comes to engineering and mathematics, for example, or things of this nature, it's less subjective than most other things. But since there's so many ways you can solve a problem using programming, and there's so many different ways of there's literally as many ways of solving problems as there are problems, probably more. You will often find that you will have different opinions on exactly how to solve any given problem. And that's where the compromisation comes in, where you have to have a dialogue with your coworkers about which solution to go with. Now, what I want to share with you are some thoughts on how to kind of approach this and my experiences working in these sorts of environments. So when you first start out as a junior, you will most likely not have this sort of self-confidence that is kind of required to question maybe your coworkers, your more experienced coworkers anyway. And it's kind of, that's okay. I mean, it's kind of expected, honestly. But at some point, you will get to a situation where you may actually find yourself to be the more experienced person. And this has a little bit to do with personal security and personal growth, basically. But at that moment, you will feel that, yeah, I know this. I know which way we should solve this. I've been doing this a few times, and I know what's the right thing to do here. And you will say what's in your head, and somebody's gonna go, no, I don't believe that. I think we should do this instead. And you'll stand there, and now you're given two choices. Either you play the expert card, and you say, well, I've done this a few times, so we should probably go with my idea. Or you say, okay, I don't care so much, sure, we can go with your idea. And usually, in my experience, the latter is actually the thing that happens. Most developers are very open to the idea that, all right, it's not a big deal, we can do it in some other fashion. Now, what I want to urge you to do here is to take a step back and consider something. And the thing I want you to consider is that if we accept what I said earlier, if we accept that there are multiple ways to solving the same sort of problem, what is the thing that becomes, the most important? Because some developers that I have worked with, they are so convinced that the way that they want to solve this problem is the perfect solution. And they will push very hard for their solution. And then some of them actually get really angry if they get questioned, or if the solution that is being picked basically isn't the one that they want. Now, if you think about that, why is that? Is it a logical reason? Well, I will argue that for the most part it may not be so logical, because as I said, if there's multiple solutions to the same problem, and unless there's an obvious reason as to why one solution would be better than the other, there's really no reason to go with one over the other. It's basically a dialogue between a few coworkers, and it becomes much more important to have a consensus as to why you go with one solution over another. The goal here is not to have the best engineering solution necessarily. It's about finding something that fits your problem and fits your company. Even if in theory you may sit there and have like a super advanced or super perfect solution, you will actually find that very often you can actually be questioned on that as well. Even if it's the perfect solution, even if it's the best thing in the world, you will have other voices that will question that, and you might find yourself compromising even if you're the expert. Now, this has happened to me quite a few times, where I know for a fact that I have the most amount of experience with this, and at some points I'm actually the only person who's done certain things, and that's true for my company right now. And when I'm having that dialogue, even when I'm the expert, I will take the position that, all right, I'll present what I believe to be the perfect solution, and then we'll talk about it. And the only thing that I truly care about is to have a solution that avoids the most dangerous pitfalls. Because remember what I said, it's not about the perfect solution. It's not about me getting exactly what I want. It is about us, the team, the company, getting a solution that is sustainable, that works for our intended use case, and that doesn't, where we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. And you can achieve that without having exactly the thing you want. So I encourage you to have that mindset while you're working and while you're progressing through your career, because at some point you will reach a level where at a given moment you will be the expert, you will be the person who knows the most or so forth. But don't let that convince you to try to, how do I put it, to try to use that seniority to get what you want for the sake of getting what you want. Because as I said, there are so many ways you can solve the same problem, and unless the solution that you are compromising about really needs to be exactly the thing that you are suggesting, then just have a dialogue instead of having a persuasion situation, persuading your colleagues into going down one route just because you want to go down that route. So, to summarize, often you will find yourself compromising about solutions, and sometimes you may think that you have the perfect solution to a given problem, and you may know the most amount of how to solve that problem. But even in that situation, remember that you are part of a team. There's several people working here. There might be multiple reasons as to why a less perfect solution is actually the way to go here. The only thing you should really never budge on is if you believe that the solution that you are picking as a group is going to shoot you in the foot. That's when you need to push. Don't push people and try to stand your ground just because you want things to work in a certain way. Have a really good reason why you shouldn't be doing something, and then come to a solution together. Have a great day.